experience any gender discrimination while working in a male-dominated field?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think men tend to be a little bit more analytical, but that doesn't mean a woman can't be. Mm-hmm. But I just wonder in the formation when God formed men and gave them their properties, they had to go out and hunt. And so you have to be a problem solver to do that kind of thing. So I know that sounds really antiquated, but I think maybe there is some of that. But that doesn't mean a woman can't also have those same qualities. I just wonder if maybe when they're designed man, he tends to be that way. Just like men are physically stronger than a woman. That doesn't mean a woman can't be stronger than a man. They're just designed that way. So that may be weak, but that's what I think.
There definitely seem to be more, boys and girls were kind of brought up a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Now in my house, it wasn't that way. Luckily, like I said, my mom went to college, and so, in our family, the girls were treated the same as the boys. We did a lot of the same things, and were pushed to do a lot of the same things. But I know, looking around at friends and other people, it was and I think it's still the case. Boys are brought up to build and play with things in a different way than girls are, and I think I think that's still in play. And so then when they start looking towards careers, sometimes that's how their brain works and what they've seen, and I think so sometimes it leads them to that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I was in the engineering school at Marquette, we had 3 women in the entire engineering school. So it definitely was a male-dominated field, but I wouldn't say I had any gender inequality in my classes. They treated the girls just the same as the boys, but in my medical training, there was, because I was in a surgical arena, they definitely, it was called the Old Boys Club, and they didn't really want women in surgery, and so they tried to make it much more difficult and make it harder on them, and treat them in sometimes some unpleasant ways so that maybe they would leave surgery. And then, through my career, it's definitely been different as far as the pay scale. Males tend to make more than females.
Now, I did have a friend that was an engineer major at Purdue when I was down there, and this would have been 25 years ago. I haven't had personal experience, but she told me she had to work twice or 3 times as hard as the guys did to prove herself in the Purdue engineering program. It may not be that way so much anymore with the advanced in 25 years ago's century, so I have not personally, but I do know people that have struggled with it.
about to make a presentation at a tech conference when a male attendee gave me this unsolicited piece of advice.
Don't be nervous, you're hot. No one expects you to do well.
I'm a software engineer, and I'm regularly asked to take notes in meetings. None of the men are asked to do that.
After giving a talk, I received abusive emails from men who said things like,
I jerked off to the video of your talk.
What do you do if you are a woman working in the field of science and you have to deal with someone in the lab who can't stop staring at your boobanis? Well, Ask Alice, which is an advice column in the magazine Science, has some very, very questionable advice for you, okay? So apparently the Ask Alice column had a person write in, and this is what she had to say. My advisor is a good scientist, and he seems like a nice guy. Here's the problem. Whenever we meet in his office, I catch him trying to look down my shirt. Not that it matters, but he's married. What should I do? So Dr. Alice Hung, who is the person who writes this advice column, gives her this advice. As long as your advisor does not move on to other advances, I suggest you put up with it, with good humor, if you can. Just make sure that he is listening to you and your ideas, taking in the results you are presenting, and taking your science seriously. His attention on your chest may be unwelcome, but you need his attention on your science and his best advice. But here's the problem. He's not paying attention to the science, he's paying attention to her mammaries.
As a country, we have woken up to the ways women's lives are impacted by sexual harassment. The time has come to focus on academic institutions, especially in male-dominated fields like science, engineering, and medicine. Together, we can do better by creating a climate that discourages all forms of sexual harassment, including sexual coercion, unwanted sexual attention, and gender harassment. Research shows that we must do more than attend occasional training sessions and review vague policies and procedures.
Soap spots, wash them again.
You're being ridiculous. Those are perfectly clean.
Sheldon, this beaker used to contain cerebrospinal fluid from an elephant that died of syphilis. If it's in fact perfectly clean, drink from it.
What do you ladies do for NASA?
calculate launch and landing, sir.
Engineering. And I'm proud as the devil to be working with you.
No protocol for women attending.
There's no protocol for a man circling the earth either, sir.
Every time we have a chance to get ahead, they move the finish line. Every time.
We all get there together, we don't get there at all.
I think, everybody needs to follow whatever their passion is. And so I think as maybe your generation and subsequent generations where more moms have, gone to college and had careers where when I was a kid, I was lucky, I guess my mom did, but most moms, didn't go to college. And so I think, having a role model, maybe an aunt or a cousin or a friend that is in one of those fields, I think is good. But I think probably even when kids are in, elementary school, trying to get them interested in those fields, I think in some way that they find fun and interesting, I think would be good.
I think it should just be based on where their talents lie. I don't think it's that women should get involved in STEM. I think if that's where your talents lie, then you need to do that. Mm-hmm. That would be my opinion.
Like pursuing your passion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if that's God is giving you those gifts, definitely, if that's God's calling for you, then you should go and do it. And if you're being called to that as a woman, go for it.